Hi everyone, it's Ayesha here from God FM, and I've done a video on why Gary Waterman and I have parted ways. But I also noticed now he's talking about me, so I feel it's necessary to clear up what he's saying about me, because this man has a tongue that likes to wag and make claims that are untrue, and for this I will clear it up. But also, I will give a warning. I serve the Lord, and if you tell lies about me, it'll be the Lord that you have to deal with. Do you understand me, Gary Waterman? All right then. So, what did Gary Waterman have to say about me? Well, he claims he's not happy with me because I didn't serve any notices. Well, if you look at any of my videos, you'll see that, well, you will have known that I must have done, at least 20 videos about Gary or more, dealing with all of the calls from the prison, night and day. I am a targeted individual, which means that my phone is completely hacked. My identity is completely taken over. And I talk about this all over God FM. I also have about 600 sermons talking about God and being a targeted individual, and also the weapons of EMF and how to counter those weapons and defend yourself through prayer, because it's a spiritual war. Okay, so whenever I put my SIM card in my phone, somebody takes over the number and turns it into an eSIM. Is one of the consequences of the hacking. My identity has been completely stolen. Somebody logs into my banking, always have a secondary device on my banking. I've reported it to Action Fraud and the police. But the hacking level is so extreme that no one will help me. And this is another reason why I'm pushing not to have the digital ID. Mr. Gary Waterman and I would talk on a daily basis on WhatsApp. And he also will only be reachable on WhatsApp, he told me, because he doesn't want his SIM card in his phone, because they triangulate his location this way. And I am of the same mind that SIM cards, unfortunately, link you up and triangulate your location to all of the new technology that's been put in, the 5G. So if you're a targeted individual and you want to protect your banking and your emails from being hacked, then you won't have your SIM card in very often. And I've got 3 different SIM cards, 3 different numbers, and I do everything I can to stop them taking over my numbers. Okay, and this also means, once they've got into your phone, then they can get into anything, because they've got control of your number. So they clone your SIM card and they clone your phone. And this happens if you speak the truth. All right? So this happens to me all the time. And it's been going on for about 2 years. And I could say it's every second of every minute of every hour of every day. I'm quite skilled at protecting myself with the phone. But, there's not much I can do when they're taking over the number. All right. The other thing I should mention is that as soon as I'd finished talking with Gary Waterman, I had appointments. I also run an estate agent, and while I was out, he decided to post this thing on. I didn't have time to go and tell everyone about what our conversation was. I thought, we'll deal with that later. And I dedicate a lot of my time to Gary Waterman. Really, it's been full time. You should know that when he was in jail, I made an exception and put the SIM card inside my phone and had a secondary device on standby so that I could record the calls for him and put them on to any platforms to update everyone on his movements and what was happening in the jail, and pray and getting everyone to pray for him and things like that. And I obviously had problems with my phone as well, because whoever's hacking my phone seems to set up the alerts so that I don't get notified when the phone rings, my calls don't get answered, and other people phone me on my own number and also through WhatsApp. And I've got evidence of this, and the police still won't help me. All right, and this is, as I say, just been going on so long now, and that was why I was helping Gary Waterman as well. All right then. So after I'd finished talking with Gary about David Icke, because I believe that the fallen angels will appear as rather grotesque creatures, to be honest. We know that the devil runs the world and the governments as well. And there's lots of reports of people transforming into strange creatures. And so, because the Bible talks about the fallen angels, and we've got the books of Enoch and all the other books, and I've also been studying all of this for some time, I do believe those stories. It doesn't mean I am linked to David Icke or any of his companies. I believe the stories of Sherry Shriner as well. And I look at all different people for what they've got to say about these reptilians and shapeshifters and all sorts of things. And it is part of the child sacrificing stories as well. So you will find that. But again, what I think with Gary Waterman on that is he doesn't want to go down the fact that God's real. He doesn't want to admit that angels are real. He doesn't want to admit that demons are real. He doesn't also want you to believe that aliens are demons. And the thing is, you can't dismiss it all. Yeah, because you've got God and you've got the devil. And then you've got, from the flood, when the angels had mated with humans, they had giant children and they became the demons. And they masquerade as aliens. So the whole alien invasion thing, yes, that probably will happen as demons pretending to be aliens or whatever. I don't know what they might pretend. I don't know. But we have all the warnings in the Bible, and that's what I believe, the Bible. Jesus also talks to the Pharisees and the Sadducees as snakes and serpents. And why would he do that? I believe that they have probably got slit eyes. I've also seen photographs and seen people transform their eyes. Slit eyes appear. So I believe that something strange is going on. All right. I also believe that when people sell their souls, they become occupied by demons. Yes. And I also believe that demons are real. And that people pray to demons and they get witchcraft spells. And it's all about witchcraft at the moment. It really is. So you can't believe something and nothing. You know, you've got to look at and explore everything, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So I've been researching all of this for many years. Demons and all that sort of thing. Yes, of course they are real. I've watched people change. And so this is what it's all about, transforming humans into strange beings with all of the things that are happening in the world and activating it through AI. But unless you've read the Bible, I guess you probably wouldn't really know much about that. Also, the fact that the churches don't really teach about how to go to war and protect yourself against demonic attack leaves very little for people to be very aware of, you know. So they deny that demons are real. They deny that God is real, and they deny that the devil's real. All of these people don't know why. I can only assume that it's part of their agenda to discredit God. So, you know, we can't have one thing and not the other. Okay, and what else is there that he said? Red line intelligence. He says that because I ran a company called that, I can't be trusted. I already told you about that. I created that company for a legal matter with a targeted individual to help her. I also had a company called Cyber Action Fraud, which I created after being hacked in 2015. and I was going to set up a charity type of organization, try and get funding to try and go up against hackers and stalkers, because I've had this type of hacking that I'm under now already once, with home invasions and all of those things in 2015, but it stopped after 9 months. And I thought, well, the police don't know anything about it and they can't help you. No one is prepared for cyber. There aren't people skilled to fight against this kind of crime. And so that was my thoughts at the time. But as it was, I was so busy with my estate agent, the company didn't really do anything at all, and it just got dissolved. But, when things happen to you, you want to try and stop them from happening to other people. Yeah, okay. He also claims that there's a link from me to the royal family, and I don't know anything about that. I do think I was swapped at birth, and I've already told Gary Waterman that. I was born as a kilogram of a bag of sugar size, and I was in an incubator for 6 months. My mother worked for the ruler of Saudi Arabia. My mother's and my father worked for the ruler of Saudi Arabia, and his wife was called Ayesha, and that is why I am called Ayesha. I was born around this time. Upon the time of my birth, around that time, and they absconded to South Africa together. And then never spoke to them again. So I've already discussed that with Gary Waterman. And I might as well tell you that my stepfather is Robin Moore, who wrote The French Connection as well. And my parents were friends with Wilbur Smith as well, who wrote many books. And so I believe the stories of the King Solomon's mines. And as I say, I just wanted to try and help Gary Waterman. And that's all I can do, tell you my side of the story, since he's now decided I'm an intelligence officer or I serve some of the government. I only serve God. I'm not a Gary Waterman fan. I'm not a follower. I'm a leader. I'm a shepherd for the Lord, for the lost sheep, to bring them back to the Lord and try and protect them from what's coming through spiritual warfare and prayer. And I'm under such an attack that I can only say, wow, it is crazy. Why would I be under such an attack? And why has my life been tampered with all through my life? I don't know the answers, but I know a lot of people are swapped at birth. And this is something I wanted Gary to help me to try and find out about all the other people who are targeted. Okay, because I've got a group of 40 people who are targeted, who I talk to every day. All right, and this is a real thing that happens. Even Gary Waterman has verified that. So now he's actually lied, from what I can see, about me being connected to the royal family, or he's got information that I don't know about. Okay, so I don't know anything about that. But I believe I am important. I do. But I think we're all important if you believe in God. God loves you very much. So I've done everything I can to, keep things as neat and tidy in closing this down, because I also believe that the Lord doesn't want me following some man who doesn't believe in him. 1 minute he's a Christian, then he's not. And he surrounds himself with people who worship Allah. He can't make up his mind what he believes. And he also kept trying to tell me that the Bible's not true. And I won't have that, because I'm very protective over the Lord. I am. He is my God and my King and my best friend. And so I won't have someone talk badly about him. So that's that. And what else is there? My parents, my dad wrote a book on AIDS as well, called The Countdown to Doomsday. Didn't really make any money, self-published, but I also find that very interesting. And my dad and my mum were financial consultants. And we lived on a farm in Africa. So yeah, that's me. And I don't have anyone. I just have the Lord. And I feel sorry for Gary Waterman, because he's surrounded by people who are, encouraging paranoia, as far as I can see. And there's no one in the world who will ever succeed against this government unless they've got the Lord with them. And that I promise you. So I won't have people lie about me. And I also don't really like people who go around and make up stories. And I certainly wouldn't trust Gary Waterman to lead the people. I wouldn't trust him to implement any government system of any kind, because he wants to keep the digital system. So, but that's my opinion, yeah? I'm allowed to think that. I found with Gary Waterman, if you are in any way studying other things or, whatever, then you're, compromised. So there's other people like Mark Steele, who talks about everything, ex-police officer, various police officers who are truthful people. So I've been able to validate, but Gary Waterman says they're compromised. And so this is no good, you see, because we need to have the police officers standing up together to validate the 5G is dangerous, yeah? And Wi-Fi is dangerous. And what they're doing with the lights and things. So it seems Gary Waterman doesn't trust anyone. And he thinks everybody's compromised. Well, that doesn't work, you see, unfortunately, because you can't think everybody's compromised and then expect everybody just to believe you. And also what I got the impression of was that Gary Waterman is not being hacked, and he's certainly not being tortured. And this is what happens to you if you tell the truth. I can tell you, right? This has been happening to me for 2 years now, 3 years. 2023 all the way to 2024. It's 2 years now. Solid, full time. Well, it's 2.5 years. Attack. Yeah, and it's relentless. So, where is his tent? Does it flap in the wind? How does he charge his phone? How does he do all his lives? Where does he wash? Oh, and he also said that if he came to God FM house, he would have died. Well, this is a lie. Absolute lie. And I've done nothing but help the man. Anyway, I'm glad I've removed everything to do with Gary Waterman. I don't want anyone else being led astray. And this will be my final message about Gary Waterman, unless he starts telling more lies, and then I'll come and correct them. But I just, as I say, want to be able to serve the Lord and try and help the people find a way out of this. And if the Lord's with me, it'll happen through me. And we'll see what happens. We will see. I've had a relationship with the Lord since I was a child. And I can tell you that my God, the real God, the maker of heaven and earth, he won't have his name mocked. He won't. I certainly won't have people telling lies about me. Okay. I serve the Lord. And I hear from the Lord. I do. That's how I was able to piece all these things together about our history, which I've also done many sermons about. But, if people don't want to believe me, that's their choice. If people don't want to believe the Bible, that's their choice, because my God, He's all about you having a choice. You can decide whether you want to believe in God or not. I think that's really good. I can tell you that when you have a relationship with the Lord, it is the most amazing thing. It is amazing. It's the best. Can you imagine just picking up the phone and phoning God and going, "Hey, it's me. I've got a problem." And God always answers my prayers. Sure enough, I've been under attack with this cyber hacking and stalking and home invasions. I speak to victims of the same crime who are raped on a daily basis by the stalkers. And I'm not making it up. So I'm not crazy. This is really happening. And they're about to bring in this digital ID. And it's going to be horrendous. And we need to be careful of following the wrong people. So, yeah, I would ask questions. We need people of a sound mind. We really do. All right. So I'm going to play the segment that Gary Waterman did, that I caught on video. And then you can have a listen and see what he has to say. And you can decide for yourselves. God's not going to come down here with a stick and beat you to believe in Him. He wants you to find out about Him through your own means, through your own desire to know your Creator and your Father, who loves you more than anyone could ever love you. God loves us so much. And we've got to ask the question as well, is Gary Waterman wears a Mason's ring? And he's called Waterman. Yeah. So I really thought that he was the one with the water bearer, from the prophecies. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it now. But I can say that I've been very hurt. Very hurt. To the point where I cried even a whole day. And for someone to hurt me like that, they don't believe in God. They definitely don't believe in God. But what kind of person behaves like that with someone to make them be in pain like that? I don't know. But you've got to ask questions. The thing is, jewelry and anything Masonic will bring in demonic entities into your life. They will. And you can't go around telling people you're a Christian. You want to know what a Christian is? A Christian is somebody who's read the Bible. They've handed their lives to Jesus. They've been reborn in Christ. They've been baptized. And they've admitted they're a sinner. And they've confessed their sins. And they've actually tried to go and repair the damage they've caused with the victims of the people that they've hurt. And apologized and also forgiven everyone that's hurt them. Just as God forgives us. And then you're called to do what Jesus did, to preach the gospel, to raise the dead, to heal the sick, and to do what you can to help your brothers and your neighbors, and to treat others how you wish to be treated. And that's what I live by. Sure enough, I've had my fair share of not being great, yeah, but I follow God, and I'm a new creature. And this is another favorite trick of the devil. Always tries to drag up the past. When you're reborn in Christ, and you've done, as I said, all of those things, then you are a Christian. But it is a very big label to attach to yourself. And certainly there's been some rewriting of history in the name of people claiming to be Christians, which has discredited the name of being a Christian. For sure. But again, it's about really knowing the Lord. he talks about when he rejects people, he says, I never knew you. This is about knowing the Lord, not just knowing the Lord, but really searching for the truth, because God is the truth, and he says the truth will set you free. So it isn't just about having a relationship with the Lord, it's about everything else as well, because we actually manifest the kingdom of God on this earth. So I believe anyway. So anyway, as I say, I've been under attack for about 2 years. And whatever reason, the Lord is allowing it to continue. And this is very hard indeed. It's not something I would wish on anybody. But I've come to the thinking that if you are not under attack and you're not being tortured and you're not being hacked and you're not being stalked, then you're probably not a child of God. Or you're not doing it right. Because the devil will only attack those that are really doing the work of the Lord. That's what I think, anyway. God help us. We really need him at the moment. And I pray for you all who are listening, that you have an amazing day. And the Lord is going to be with you. The Lord of hosts. I offer myself to the Lord for whatever he needs me to do. Jesus Christ. And I would serve the Lord all the days of my life. I've made a covenant with the Lord, and he is my husband. And I don't want a husband. I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want anyone. I just want to be left alone to read my Bible. But because of the attack that's come upon me, I really feel that I'm a witness to what actually really is going on. And I've seen it firsthand. I mean, if someone told me the things that are happening to me, if they told me before this started happening to me, I would have thought they were crazy. But the fact that I've seen these things in full swing means I know it's real. And those who are going through it haven't got anyone. No one believes them. It's the very government doing it. It's very sad, it is. Anyway, I hope this clears it up. And if you ever hear Gary Waterman speaking badly of my name, Ayesha God FM, or the Lord, if you are a follower of the Lord, then I will ask you to please stand up. Please stand up for the Lord and for his good name and for mine. Just a quick thing as well, to let you know that I'm the one who came up with a document idea, a closure notice. Because before that, everyone was serving notices verbally, videoing it. And I didn't think that had any credibility. So I'm the one who suggested we need to do a proper closure notice. And I typed it up for Gary Waterman. I copied the words that he was saying in the videos for the people to see. And I called it a closure notice because of my legal background, and created the document. And I'm also the one who came up with the idea of the packs. Yeah? And I'm also the one who created those packs. I'm also the lady who created a website for Gary Waterman to try and help Gary Waterman. And I'm also the lady who spoke to him every day, virtually from the jail. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that in there as well. I didn't serve notices, no. I was too busy doing all of his live recordings and putting all of that on there and trying to run my estate agent and being hacked and stalked and terrorized and having my cars vandalized. And no, I didn't serve notices because there was always some drama. There was always a drama or something. Gary was not reachable, or Gary was talking about someone else, or he was doing a live, or he was, talking about his strategy and ways to get people to phone him. I came up with campaigns, all sorts of different things. Yeah, crazy. I don't know. From my point of view, I'm just so disappointed. Really. It's almost like he didn't want anyone else to have the limelight, like he's a movie star or something. That's what I think. I don't know. But he's not God, and I don't worship anyone on this earth, and I'm not following some guy that is scatterbrained. No thanks. It's Ayesha from God FM. Have a wonderful day and take care. You can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome. We're on YouTube as well. X, God FM News, God FM New, God FM Radio. And you can email me, admin@godfm.org.uk. And you can WhatsApp me, +44 0775 77788. But don't try and phone me on my number, because you'll probably find a man answers the phone, or someone else has switched off the notifications so don't get my calls, or they've connected up to a fake telephone mast, which is what all happens to me all the time. All right then, and I'll leave you to watch the video, and then you can decide for yourself. All right then, God bless you. Take care.
Tesla, which then links into Titanic. I've now linked Titanic to my very quickly to my family and to Vanessa. It looks like, potentially. Still doing a bit more research around it. What's your mobile phone provider? There would be an uproar if anything happens to Gary. Well, yeah, well, Shwara, you know, they could obviously make it look like an accident, couldn't they? Which I think I'm very lucky that well, it's not lucky, because I did lots of things when I went through the prison service to ensure that they couldn't. I made it as difficult as possible for them to get rid of me through the prison service if that's what they were planning. And then it does look as though all of the evidence suggests they were going to send me to Ayesha's, and then they would have got rid of me before I even had a chance to lay my evidence in the court. Remember, I was asking to be interviewed. If you're not already aware, I was literally... They didn't even arrest me for the cell tower. It was only... For 3 days, I was saying to them, you need to interview me. I've disabled a cell tower. You need to interview me. Thinking I could get my evidence in an interview about all of this. Still haven't interviewed me. Had no interview at all whatsoever, because they know it will bring the entire world system to its knees. So they bailed me, got me out of Scotland with conditions, so I couldn't even be in Scotland. I'm going to send me to Ayesha's. I think if I'd have gone to Ayesha's of God FM, I don't think I'd be alive. I don't think I'd be alive. So I had to go into a tent, which is fine. I've got my little Robin there that I'm feeding every day, and that is amazing. I missed what you said about God FM, Gary. Yeah, so God FM, so when I was in prison, okay, it was clear that they were restricting my conditions and my rights. I was given a chance to get one number. Now, by chance, the first number that I got was Ayesha's, because obviously it's at the beginning of my phone book. But also, she had given me her address previously, and I was thinking, right, I'm going to need to phone someone to get a bail address, because they refused my bail to my home address. Even though they'd approved it twice on the traffic offences, they then refused me bail afterwards to my home address. You can't do that. You can't do that suddenly. Well, that meant they could get me in prison, because they were panicking. They didn't know what to do. Refused me bail, get me in prison, see if they could potentially end my life in prison. Well, I made that almost impossible by broadcasting to the entire prison at the top of my voice repeatedly who I was, what I was uncovering, that the police are involved, that I think that I'm in prison because they're going to murder me. That got the prisoners all on board with me. That made it very difficult for them to unalive me in prison. Then it looks like, so they gave me a number. I got Ayesha's number. I then wasn't allowed to get another number for my phone for days. And I was trying to phone Ayesha constantly, and there was it just wasn't going through. And I was thinking, this is really weird. Every time I've spoke prior to my arrest, I've been speaking to Ayesha. Most days, she would answer and respond every single time. Suddenly, no response. As time went on, and I made it very difficult because I was shouting everywhere who I was, making reports all the way through the prison so they couldn't get rid of me, then Ayesha answered the phone one day, said her SIM card had been taken out of her phone. Convenient, isn't it? Okay. So anyway, then I was eventually given bail to Ayesha's address. Obviously, at this time, I'm thinking, is Ayesha genuine? Is she not? She's being very helpful. She's now promoting all of me and all of my information. However, she's not taking part in the strategy. That was a big sign. She didn't go out and serve any notices publicly, which is what we are collectively combined. We were telling everybody to do that. I've done 3 premises. Ayesha has done none. So anyway, then somebody contacted me and said, Gary, I'm very concerned that you're being set up with Ayesha. And they told me about the connections, some of the connections through the Company's House records. So we had a meeting, just the 3 of us, with Ayesha and this other person. And I said, look, as long as you're doing the right thing moving forward, I'm always all for giving people a chance. I hadn't looked in depth at the records of Ayesha at this point. Okay, I'd only looked at those surface level companies, saw that they were linked straight to the fraud, but thought, look, I'm still willing to give people, if they're willing to turn this around and do the right thing and save the children, then I will work with these people. Anyway, it was only a conversation 2 days ago when I realised she was massively compromised, because what she was doing was supporting David Icke's agenda of the lizard people and shapeshifters. Well, David Icke is linked to what appears to be drug trafficking companies around him. I found him, the research to him was from the adrenochrome, where a fire took place after I publicised my evidence. There was a massive fire in Hampshire. I then researched the fire location, which was TJ Waste and Recycling, and found that via that company it linked to David Icke. This was the day within 48 hours, more likely 24, after I'd done a public police report of the evidence I've found linking CYM to the blood of the children back into Exmoor Manor. Did that police report. The fire happened within 48 hours, more like 24. Researched the fire. There was David Icke. All around David Icke looks like drugs-related companies. Opium UK Limited, Paranoid UK Limited, hydroponics companies. Okay, right by David Icke was the Hacklewood International Advisory Board company. Well, that is on page 40 of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. And the Hacklewood International Advisory Board links the intelligence agencies to the Russian government, to the royal family, to the Flemings via Ukraine, and them trying to hide the evidence through company name changes to remove the Russian connection. So at that point, it was clear that David Icke was compromised by this, and I've now found another connection to David Icke coming in from another intelligence agency link. Well, Ayesha supported David Icke in what he was saying. Now, why is that important? Well, because that fits the fake alien invasion agenda that they're now panicking to or trying to bring in, potentially involving 3i Atlas as they become so fully exposed in relation to their criminal network. So they need a distraction, and they need to create some sort of diversion away from this and try and get everybody to focus back on the governments. It's not going to work, everyone. All right, the evidence is too big now. Now, it may be that something else is going to happen by the true creator, but I mean, I would be, until the government comes out with the truth of their criminal financial system, you can't trust anyone on government. This includes MPs, councillors, police. You can't trust any of them until they talk about this. So anyway, I had this big conversation with Ayesha 2 days ago and said, look, I'm sorry, I can't work with you anymore, because what you're doing is you're fitting everything that I know is fake. You can't have someone who's part of a criminal financial deception against all of humanity and is not willing to talk about and expose it, i.e. David Icke, and then believe what he's saying about the lizard people, especially when there's drugs companies all around him potentially. All right, so, because they might be delusional, they might not even be thinking rationally. So, you know, and then I found that Jeanette Archer, who's saying the same thing as him, links into key areas of the fraud. And then because Ayesha said this, I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry, we can't work together. And it was literally the day after that I had a restriction on my WhatsApp that I'd never had before. And Ayesha from God FM is linked to a cyber company. She's also linked to a company called Redline Intelligence. Oh, I've got a thing popping up, bear with me. Redline Intelligence. Oh, bear with me. Oh, just got to do the puzzle on my phone. She's also connected to Redline Intelligence, which is in the process of being struck from the register. There's key changes through that company that happens as I'm exposing my fraud, including a registered address change in early 2022, which is when I'm starting to make the inquiries, the early inquiries at Exmoor Manor. So yeah, and then obviously since then I've then researched Ayesha a bit more, gone into depth, and it links back into the royal family again. So thank goodness I didn't go to the address. And the only thing I can say is I'm being guided, I think, by the true Creator, which is enabling me to just get through everything, foil everything, and expose absolutely everyone in the process as I'm going through it. It makes sense that I am potentially somebody, pretty, I'm not the most intelligent person, all right? I'm not the most, there's nothing special about me, all right? Let me just say it that way. However, something special is happening through me. Something special is happening through me. The evidence I've got will change the world forever. It will change the world forever. It shouldn't even be possible for me, living in a tent, in a van, to potentially take down the entire world system. It just shouldn't be possible, everybody. So, you just need to get behind me. You need to get behind this evidence. And I promise you, we will change the world forever in the right way. To transparency. It's all about transparency, truth, integrity, equality and fairness for everyone. And managing humanity through that transparency, and managing them through incentivized choice if necessary, through the right leadership, not government, not mind control, inverted. That's what it means. Govern means control. Mind meant government. Inverted, it's mind control. And it started in the 13th century, going back to the Reformation, linking in to the religious establishments. It's all inverted, everybody. And this explains why in 2006 is when I don't think there's any coincidence with this, everybody. So the year that I moved down from Kent to Dorset, it was 2006. That's when the Da Vinci Code movie came out. All right. And that movie is about the bloodline of Christ still being alive here on earth. And at the end of the movie, it's got the Louvre, okay, with the inverted pyramids. That was the year I moved to Dorset, not knowing anyone at all. 2007, the year afterwards, is when a staged introduction took place with my wife and me buying a property in Exbourne Manor. That is when Madeleine McCann went missing that same year, and other key events happened in 2007 tying in with it. And as I've said, so it was in August that year that Exbourne Manor was actually first created on Company's House. And then in 2000 so that was 2007, and obviously I later acquired all of my evidence through that location. It was 2008 that my dad, who is massively linked into this, bought my wife and I a trip, not a wife at the time, because we didn't get married until 2019, but we were together. My girlfriend and I at the time, a trip to Paris. And we ended up going to the Louvre Museum, which was featured in the end of the Da Vinci Code movie. That's not why we went there at all, in my mind. I think they deliberately took me there, though. Okay, in there you have an inverted pyramid, massive pyramid coming down from the ceiling inside, okay, above a small pyramid, the normal way up below it, an inversion. That was telling me there's a massive inversion that I was going to later find that link, okay, to an inversion in everything. It's an obvious depiction of it. Huge pyramid coming down, inverted, tiny pyramid underneath. Look at the inversion, it's there. Above it, you have a big pyramid above ground in the Louvre. That is, I believe, to represent as above, so below. Okay, which is a big saying in all of this, again, representing an inversion. So that was 2008. That's when the same movie came out, which was the Knights, not the Knights Templar, the, what's it called? It's gone out of my head. It's what I had my dream, the Ninth Circle. That's when the movie The Ninth Circle came out that year, which is also which linked to my dream, remember, of Ronald McDonald, tying in with the clown from that movie. I didn't know that at the time, obviously. Okay, 2008 is also when the Large Hadron Collider was first activated. Okay, this is the Collider in Geneva in Switzerland. The next year, 2009, is when I became a director of Exbourne Manor. It's when the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales Company actually was created within, I think it was within a month of me being a director of Exbourne Manor. And the day before, as I've told you, Pietro Parolin, who it looks as though they're going to set up as the prophecy of the popes, was coronated the day before I became a director for Exbourne Manor Freehold Limited. 2009 is, as I've said, the same year that the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales movie came out, but also the movie 2012. The movie 2012 came out that year. Well, that I was then going to later link to the 2012 experiment at CERN, which was where they discovered the Higgs boson, a God particle, and that experiment was called the Atlas experiment. Well, that Atlas experiment now links to 3i Atlas and Atlas Holdings, which links to the currency producer De La Rue that was purchased by Atlas Holdings in July this year. For the first time since 1947, it came off of the London Stock Exchange. That's no coincidence, everybody. Remember, 1947 is the Doomsday Clock. That's also when the Association of Police, Chief Police Officers of the United Kingdom started, okay? Same year as the Doomsday Clock. So 2009, also the big thing is you have the second movie, Da Vinci Code movie, comes out called Angels and Demons. And that is about CERN and the Vatican. The two biggest things that I'm now exposing, linking into all of this fraud. So CERN is a massive, massive part of this. You then had, so that was in 2009. There were some other things happening in 2009. Yeah, the movie Avatar came out. So Avatar is directed by James Cameron. That movie links to Ingenious Film Partners. Ingenious Film Partners 2, as I've already said, is on page 40 of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, and links to those that I was brought up with. Also in, what was it, something else in 2009 happened. Can't remember. Oh yeah. So he not only did he direct Avatar, he directed my favourite movie, which is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. That came out in 1991, the same year that David Icke came out saying he was acting on behalf of the God's Head, saying that the world will be devastated by earthquakes and tsunamis. That's the same year that the relativistic heavy ion collider in in New York started to be constructed. Okay, and this is the year before 1992, which is when Companies House started to become electronic, which is how I then uncovered all of the fraud, because they're forging the register against the incorporation documents of the electronic register. Okay, so that's how I discovered it. And 1992, again, no coincidence, is when the Vatican became a legal entity. Okay, and who was involved in that? Pietro Parolin. Yeah, 1991 is also the year that the George Carey, who was the former Archbishop of Canterbury, was put in position. Okay, so he was the Archbishop of Canterbury until 2002, the year after the World Trade Center disaster, which is when Justin Welby became the Archbishop of Canterbury, and he links through the Companies House records to the Rothschilds, which ties back into the Balfour Declaration and the deception of Israel from 1917, which leads to 1947 again, because not only did you have the Doomsday Clock and the Association of Chief Police Officers founded in 1947, you also had the United Nations involved in the petition that then led to the Israel-Arab War in 1948, the year afterwards. It's all connected, everybody. The Rothschilds were linked in, or tied into the Goldsmith family, and the Goldsmith family had a former name of Goldschmidt, which was German/Jewish, and that was all about, it appears, going back to the Sabbatian Frankists, which is tying in with Christianity as well, about a complete inversion of moral conscience. So an inversion again. And they were involved in orgies. There's also a suggestion they were involved in incestuous activity. Well, my surname, Waterman, goes back to German/Jewish origin. And my family massively connect with all of these things that I'm talking about in such a quick way. It's not a coincidence. Includes David Icke. Includes David Icke, includes Elon Musk, includes Jeffrey Epstein, includes Donald Trump, includes Jimmy Savile, Julian Assange, who was part of a doomsday cult. And when you look at the article of the doomsday cult that his family's connected to in Australia, on there it mentions properties in Kent. Well, that's where I was born, in Kent. So it all connects, and obviously you've got the doomsday cult connection. It mentions in there that babies were swapped around at birth. Right, so I suspect I was swapped around at birth, which would explain why my mum literally threw me under the bus, or who I thought was my mum completely threw me under the bus when I tried to talk to her about this, and I started exposing the evidence around my family. Julian Assange was actually released with 10 days after what's his name, Prince William had a meeting at the MI6 buildings in 2024. He was released within 10 days. Prince William is massively linked into this. They're not going to be our real royal family in all of this. All right, we're going to have imposters there, almost certain now. This would explain why 1953, when the Queen was coronated, was the same year that the MK Ultra program began, which was international mind control against most of humanity, non-consensual mind control to try and get them to do things they wouldn't normally do. 1954, the year after, is when the CERN, the company behind the Large Hadron Collider at Geneva, was actually founded. That's no coincidence, everybody. All right, so all of these things stem from that, the Queen's coronation, and how things developed moving forward. Where was I going to go with that? I mean, there's just so much I could say. I can't. I mean, there's vastly more than I'm telling you. It's all in my document, so you know you need to get this document. But at the moment, I haven't even got a chance to respond to people. I just need to finish a bit more of it and then get it sent out. And probably what I'll do is I'll respond to any comments on my TikTok videos, and I'll try and post this video or something, get it on there, and I will try and respond to everyone with a number that they can get the document on. But at the moment, obviously, it looks like God FM is trying to, or somebody after I had the conversation with her, let's put it that way, is restricting my WhatsApp access. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to continue getting the evidence out on there. But it's already too circulated around the world anyway, to be honest with you. Even if I don't get the updated document out, the evidence in the previous document is enough to bring the whole system to its knees anyway. So, but if I can get more in there, then that'll be a bonus. That'll be a bonus. So, and I can, let's have a look. I thought God FM was helping. Yeah, it did seem that they were helping, but unfortunately it looks as though they were part of, they're not coming out with everything they know. At the very least, they're not telling us everything they know, and unfortunately they're compromised by the system. In my mind, I can't trust them anymore, because they're fitting the agenda of the government. Your fleece was made by Freemasons. Bitpack, very shocking. Need the document, Gary. Yeah, I'm going to be sending it out. I'll give you my WhatsApp number. If you haven't already WhatsApped me, then WhatsApp me, but it might be, you're just going to have to be patient, because I still haven't got back to a lot of people that have already messaged me. So my WhatsApp number, if you get a pen, go and get a pen and I'll give it in a second. Can I broadcast your lives, please? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'll try and, what I'll try and do is, because this isn't a long live, and if I keep it short, I can download it on my phone, upload it to YouTube, and somehow put it back on TikTok as well, as long as it's not too long, because I don't have enough memory at the moment to get. I had a 5-hour live the other day, so I couldn't put that on my phone. Right, my number is 07883 073043. That's 07883 073043. If you're outside of the United Kingdom, then it's +44 7883 073043. That's +44 7883 073043. Yeah, so just on the point of the Freemasons, so I was never a Freemason. They need to all be arrested. In my mind, they cannot have any further influence over the earth. It's pure evil what they're involved in. They're running this system, it appears. It's Freemasons all the way through my research, and we know that they're able to control the infiltrated. Sorry, they're able to remove encrypted WhatsApp messages. All right, because I had a message from a Freemason claiming to be a Freemason for over 40 years. Had a conversation with them in that WhatsApp message. Screen recorded the whole lot because I was concerned about what they were saying. And then that conversation was completely removed from my phone. Now that shouldn't even be possible, but luckily, because I've screen recorded it, again, I've got the evidence to now expose the Freemasons having that control through the encrypted messaging. There is no encryption, everyone. It's all a lie. The whole system is centralised to what I'm exposing, centralised to these crimes, this criminal network, this fraudulent system in place. There is no encryption. They're able to look at everything you're doing. Everything. Are we all going to die then? No, I believe not. I suspect not. There's too much, I don't believe this would all be coming out if it was going to end up with everyone being unalived. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case for everyone. It could be that there's going to be some sort of judgment, whether that's going to be a real judgment by the real creator coming in, and those that are not standing up against this could be removed or taken out. I don't know. Now, the question is obviously a lot of things depend on, well, is the creator